So this is going to be a fascinating day, Willem, as we see Theresa May try to negotiate all these various vested interests who dislike the look of this deal.
Yeah, that of course includes people like Boris Johnson with their own home party who say that this is going to create a vassal state, a phrase we've heard again and again, including from his brother, who's on the very opposite side of the debate. You've then got pro-Europe members of the Conservative Party. They are not going to be happy with this for the reasons that Joe Johnson outlined during his resignation address. You've then got the DUP, very crucially, of course, its supply and confidence agreement with the government. If, as is expected, based on the terms of this withdrawal agreement, it ends up with some kind of regulatory differences when it comes to the customs union in particular, and therefore trade between Northern Ireland and the rest of the UK as part of this backstop. If that ends up being obvious from the text, then we can expect to hear some more scathing criticism from the DUP and potentially a guarantee from them that they would vote against this. That, combined with Labour's very clear opposition so far, will make this a real challenge when it comes to the parliamentary math. So Keir Starmer, of course the Labour point person on Brexit, had these comments on the so-called details of this deal last night.
We've said on a number of occasions that we need a customs union with the EU as a permanent setup and a strong single market relationship. I believe there's a majority for that position. The problem here is the Prime Minister has not been negotiating in the national interest. She's been negotiating what she thinks she can get past her cabinet. But as I say, given the shambolic nature of the negotiations, this is unlikely to be the right deal for Britain.
Really interesting point there from Keir Starmer, his idea, his view that Theresa May has been more focused on getting this proposal past her cabinet than necessarily negotiating in the national interest. And of course, in terms of the sequencing, that is important. She does need to get this past her cabinet before it would then be agreed upon by the EU 27 at the next council, whether that's an emergency summit in Brussels or the currently scheduled one for mid-December. At that point, it would come back here to Westminster, and that's where that parliamentary math would come in. Would Theresa May, with the terms of the deal that she's proposing today, that her technical negotiators have agreed upon with their counterparts in Brussels, would she be able to get a majority of votes in the building behind me? And that is, as of yet, a very uncertain question.
So, Willem, in terms of Theresa May's future at this point, given that there are so many objectors in the British political system, is there a risk that if the objections are strong from both Labour and the Brexiteers within her own cabinet, that she could face a no confidence vote within the next 24, 48 hours?
No clarity on that, to be honest with you, Jeff. I mean, the challenge for her is much more within her own party in terms of her future and whether they decide whether the 48 MPs required to essentially force that vote do submit letters to the 1922 committee. That's what it's called, the internal body of the Conservative Party. We've had a lot of talk about that, of course, over the last few months, with a lot of MPs saying, I've already submitted my letter. But as of right now, we don't know whether that 48 number has been reached. She has said, just in the last few days, that she's intending post-March 2019 to head off to the Asia-Pacific region to start talking about trade agreements, whether those would ever come to fruition, based on the fact this backstop would essentially prevent the UK from negotiating those kinds of deals until well after the transition period ends. Remains very unclear whether she will be the person leading those kinds of negotiations, but in her mind, seemingly, her public position is that she will be Prime Minister as of late March and beyond.
Hey everybody, it's Hadley Gamble from our new CNBC Middle East Bureau in Abu Dhabi. Thanks for stopping by. Now, to watch more, you can try one of the videos that just popped up on your screen. And don't forget to subscribe.